And then you find out that they got fully funded because there were people with money who believed in it and thought it was a great idea. When I was first starting out, all the money that you needed to make prototypes and to make finished copies was money out of your own pocket. But now there's a website that caters to something called Kickstarter programs. And what goes on a Kickstarter program is you write out a paragraph of what it is that you want to produce and try to make it sound as attractive and as interesting as possible. And then you solicit money to make it come to fruition. And my suggestion is that you should go to that site and download 4 or 5 of these so that you can see how the other people are handling that problem. Because you'll find Kickstarter programs you think, well, that's completely asinine. You know, who would want to do that? And then you find out that they got fully funded because there were people with money who believed in it and thought it was a great idea. Now, there's a fella named Steve Jackson who has a very successful game company. But when Steve published his very first title, it was called OGRE, and it was a battle against this gigantic tank, and you had to select a number of offensive weapons to try to kill that tank before it got across the board. And he only printed it one time. And it sold very well, but when it was sold out, that was the end of it. So here we are 30 years later, and Steve is still getting fan mail for OGRE. And they kept saying to him, why don't you reprint OGRE? Why don't you reprint OGRE? Well, he couldn't be sure if it was the same people asking again and again and again, or if it really was a genuine item. So he finally did a study, and he decided that he needed $60,000 to print OGRE again. And so he made up a program where people could send him money to back it, and in 24 hours he had $90,000. And at the end of 30 days he had $900,000. And in order to get that money, all he has to do is run the printing press. So it's like printing money. Now, the advantage that Steve has over you is that everybody knows who Steve Jackson Games are, and consequently there were a lot of people who buy many of the things that he has designed, and they've enjoyed them, so they have confidence that he can do what he says he's going to do. But you're starting from scratch, and it's hard to make people understand that you could be a success as well. And so what you need to do in your description of what it is you want to bring to the press is what kind of a background you might have that would complement the effort. So if you had a successful military career, you would mention that that's what you did, and this gave you the ability to focus on a way by which you could simulate a battle game that would be more accurate than the battle games that are currently being sold, or that would be different or better than battle games that are currently being sold. I have a few people who use Old English lettering on every word that's on the title, and it makes it hard as heck to read. And also, be sure that you put the real name of the game on every one of the 6 sides that box has. There was a company that thought it would be clever to write the name of the battle game that they were publishing, and they came up with 6 French names. Now, I don't speak French, and La Bataille de Moscow was one of the titles, but on the side of the box it didn't say La Bataille de Moscow, and I can't remember what it said on the side, except that I know one night, as I was a distributor and I had these things for sale, somebody called and asked me did I have that game, and they asked me for the name that was on the side of the box, but that side wasn't facing me. And so I said, no, I don't have it. So I lost the sale. After I hung up the phone and I turned that box sideways, I could see what that second name was. And this game had 6 different names depending on which side you're looking at, which was very detrimental.